I'm really enjoying this conversation. I feel like there's just so much joy and wonder, Dan, that comes from you. At the very beginning of the conversation, you were talking about the choir you're working with now, and that there's only 6 people in the choir. And for somebody who has so much capacity, so much vision, so much talent, I was just wondering if you just have some words on your attitude when circumstances are not necessarily ideal. How do you kind of manage that when, because I think it's easy to feel like, oh, I can't be successful in this environment because I don't have that, or, oh, I'll never reach
Very
my
good
full potential
question.
because of this. How do you think
That's a
about
very
that?
good question. It's difficult because there are days, like for instance, I did an arrangement for the choir at the church in Easton, my favorite Christmas carol, which is "I Wander as I Want." I developed this into a really, really difficult piece, and one of my singers there in that choir was a member of the master chorale, and so he took this arrangement to the director, and she ended up using it. And I'll never forget the first time. I mean, they performed it at St. Patrick's Cathedral for their midnight mass, and she wrote me afterwards and said, "You know, I don't know what this means." And she was a Jewish lady. "I don't know what this means, but at the end of our scene, there was a bunch of priests in the front there that said, 'Amen.'" I said, "I think that means that's a positive view of what you have done." But to hear that choir and watch her rehearse my piece was priceless. I mean, I can't even tell you what emotions were struck when I first did some recording in LA with top musicians out there. I mean, I just stood in front of these people and conducted, and your mind is blown away. But then you realize now I have to go back to a choir of 6 voices. It's not going to be the same. Now I hear the stuff in my head and I know what it's supposed to sound like, but I've asked God to use his spirit to make me hear and to make the choir sing in such a way that reaches into the spirits of those people listening, because those people have a gift too. Maybe it's not as great as Leoton Price or somebody, but nevertheless, it's a gift, and they are striving to use that gift. Believe me, I work them hard to try to make them sing this stuff, and they're saying, "Dan, how do you do this?" And I said, I don't know. It's inside my head, and the Lord brings it out. That's the way it is. But there does come a moment when you have to realize, if God puts you at this little church with only 6 people in the choir, then he has a reason for that. And what it has done, it has made me refine the things I do and bring them down to the smallest common denominator, so that even the simplest of choirs can pick this stuff up and actually sing it. And if you take it to a big choir, they will sound like a big choir. But it'll still work in that small setting because God has refined it through me and has taught me, look, you have these people for a reason. You are here for a purpose. Make sure that you live out my purpose through your art. And when that happens, then you can deal with, going from, a recording studio in LA, the top players. I mean, Larry Colton was my guitar player. I didn't even know who Larry Colton was years later. And I realized he's one of the leading guitar players of all time. He was playing lead guitar in my eye. I didn't even know him. John Dennis, another guitarist, who played the solos on "Beat It" for Michael Jackson. He was in the band, I mean, just unbelievable stuff. So, the Lord adjusts you for where he puts you. He gives you the grace that you need to be at that